said. Mahoney is joining me while Padfoot is resting in his crate. Just fed him some of his magic soup, which is sugar water and chicken broth. Because he's fasting with his upset tummy. And so, Miss Mahoney is joining us before I feed her dinner. So, we're here for part 2 of some of my favorite horror films. Where are you going? No, ma'am. Always into trouble. Mahoney, no, ma'am. What are you eating? See, this is why they're always got a tummy ache. They're always eating stuff. You need to stop it. You hear me? So, come here. So, I am going to... no, ma'am. Sit down. You can stay right here. If I can't see you, I know you're doing something I don't like. Let's see. I don't have DVD cases for some of these, so before I get into these last few that I do, I will lay down, Padfoot. You have to rest. I'm going to name off some of the others that I had written down that are on my external hard drive, or I don't have the cases. But, let's see. We got Zombieland. I'm not really huge into the zombie genre. I am a fan of Zombieland. I absolutely love it, and Shaun of the Dead. And I do like The Walking Dead. And some of the other older zombie things, like Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, ones like that. Some of them, but not huge into the zombie genre. But Zombieland, you just can't help but love that one. Let's see. I know a lot of people don't like this one, but I liked Shyamalan's The Village. I didn't much care for some of his other stuff, but I did like The Village. Let's see. I like the original and the remake of 13 Ghosts. Kind of like with Cat People, the remake really didn't have any major correlation to the original, but I did like the remake just because of how unique the setup of that house was. I like the cast. I had Matthew Lillard and Tony Shalhoub. I just absolutely loved it. Another classic horror film that I like, it was The Bad Seed. I've seen remakes, not very good, but I like the original, and it's an old black and white one, but it's, even for the time, it was kind of disturbing. And another one that I liked that I even liked the remake kinda, was, and it just slipped my mind. Village of the Damned. And I know the original one spawned off a few sequels, which weren't very good either. But the original black and white one was really good. And then I actually did like the remake with Kirstie Alley and Christopher Reeve, and even had Mark Hamill in it. I liked it. Again, you know, a lot of remakes aren't as good as the originals, but it was still pretty good. The Crucible with Daniel Day-Lewis, Winona Ryder. I love stuff about the history of the Salem witch trials. So I really like that one. Now, this isn't, I guess, really horror per se, but it kind of is. But it's got a Disney label on it, so it's kind of hard to call it fully a horror film. But which I don't have the DVD case anymore. But it's funny, I do have it on VHS. But it's Something Wicked This Way Comes with Jason Robards, Jonathan Pryce, Pam Grier. Quite a few people in there that I've grew up liking. I really like it. The film's a little different. No, ma'am. Sit. You stay. Lord, these dogs are just on my last nerve today. Let's see. Tales from the Hood. That movie is so bizarre, and it's hilarious. I don't know what to say. It's hilarious. I absolutely loved it. I think it was an excellent film. I think it was the last story. Kind of reminds you of the scene in Clockwork Orange where Alex is going through his treatment. Kind of reminds me of that. But I was a big fan of Tales from the Hood. I think that was excellent. It was really well done. Padfoot, lay down. He is wheeling that crate. He's so jealous she's in here. One from the early 80s that a lot of people don't know about that had a really good cast, and I can't remember who all was in it, but one person I do remember specifically that was in it was Emilio Estevez. It was called Nightmares, and I think it had like 3 or 4 different like sub-stories in this one film. His was playing a video game, and he got trapped in it. And in our like the old arcades. Something about a priest being chased by a van. And I think there's one other story maybe, and I can't remember it, but I know the last one is about this giant rat that terrorizes a family. So it's old, and I'm not sure. I think the first story in that was something about a woman, and it was an urban legend. The urban legend about someone in the backseat of her car, on a dark road. One of those kind of films, or one of those kind of stories. But yeah, I think that had 4 stories in that. But it's called Nightmares. It's really kind of hard to find. It's really, really good. I know this remake right now is causing a lot of stir because it's just being released. But the remake of Poltergeist, I'm not sure if I'll see it. I grew up, I was a little kid, who loved the first one. I've seen all 3 of them at the cinema. The first 2 I absolutely loved. The third was just rubbish, but Heather O'Rourke died in the middle of filming it, so they had to make do the best they could rewriting that storyline. But the first 2 I'm absolutely a huge fan of. So I'm really not happy they remade that. Night of the Hunter. This is an old black and white film. I mentioned one of the people in it earlier, Robert Mitchum, who's in both Cape Fear films. He marries a widow whose husband was executed for a violent robbery, and he met Robert Mitchum's character in prison. He was another inmate, and he had told him he had stashed the money somewhere. And so when Robert Mitchum gets out of prison, he goes and tracks down this widow with her 2 little kids and marries her because he thinks that he can find this money, and he bumps her off, and the kids run away, and he spends the entire film hunting these kids down. And the film isn't very, very graphic. It's an old black and white film from, I think, like the late 50s, early 60s. But Robert Mitchum is just such a scary bastard. He's so vile and creepy in this. The whole film just makes you feel kind of sick watching it. But it's a good film. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I grew up on black and white horror films, and it was one of my parents' favorites, especially my mom's. So that's how I fell in love with that one. So Night of the Hunter, if you've never seen it, I absolutely recommend that one. Another classic horror film. It's Hitchcock, and I love Hitchcock films. Psycho, Vertigo, Frenzy, but a really excellent one he did also was Dial M for Murder with Grace Kelly. It was absolutely amazing. It is one of my favorites. I have a print of the original film poster somewhere. I'm just going to quickly mention some of the others that I like. Let's see. Dreamscape, it's in the early 80s, one with Dennis Quaid. Really freaky. I think it might be classified as horror sci-fi, but It was really good. Nightbreed. Let's see, Daybreakers was really good. It's a different kind of vampire film, and I kind of like that. It was kind of set like in a more futuristic world, and not your typical vampire film. And I actually liked it. I didn't think I would, but a former friend of mine insisted that I see it, and so he had taken me to see it, and I absolutely loved it. Let's see, From Hell with Johnny Depp. I actually liked that one a lot. A lot of people didn't, but I kind of liked it. Let's see. I cannot see this. Let's see. Moving on. Some of the, the horror films from my childhood that I liked. You got like Nightmare on Elm Street. Though some of those sequels got a little out of hand. Just the same with Halloween. I was not a big fan of the Halloween remakes. I kind of liked them for the backstory. The first one. The second one I just really didn't like. Not a huge fan of Rob Zombie's films. They're okay. I'm not going to say I don't like them. I'm just not a huge fan. I do like the Captain Spaulding character. Just because he's so hilarious. Sid Haig is hilarious. But I'm just not a huge Rob Zombie fan when it comes to his films. But I did watch all the original, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. I actually have this Friday the 13th box set that someone gave me a long time ago. It's got I think the first 8 films, and then it's got this other one that says Killer Extras, which I don't even think I've watched that disc. But this has most of the films on there, and I know they've come out with others since then. So and then Saw. You've got all these films that have multiple sequels and stuff. Seen them all, and I like them for what they're worth. I just like watching the continuing storyline, even if they go downhill and they're not that great. You just feel compelled to keep watching to see where these storylines go, even though they never really go anywhere. I also like series of like mini movies, or I'm really not sure how to describe them. I don't know. I'm not sure how to describe them, but you have, and I think there's been another series of these come out, but these After Dark Horror Fest films, 8 Films to Die For, and I don't have all of them. I've seen them all, but I just bought the ones that I really liked, like Dark Ride. It was really good. It kind of reminded me of this early 80s film, The Fun Park or something. I can't really remember. Wicked Little Things. I think that was set in West Virginia or something like that. Something to do with coal mines. The Unrest. The Abandoned. And then I'll be mentioning this again when I talk about some of my favorite Asian horror films. But Reincarnation, it was in the After Dark Horror Fest series too. And another now these are all full-length feature films. But now another series I like that they're more like a little over an hour, around an hour long films, was the Masters of Horror, and I have them all on an external hard drive. So I used to have them on DVD or something, but which I don't have anymore. But they're on my hard drive. But I think they're still streaming on either Hulu or Netflix. But they have some excellent films in there too. But my 3 favorite, which I always put on my iPod from Masters of Horror, is Dear Woman, Sick Girl, and Imprint. Imprint is an Asian horror one, but it's in English, unlike most Asian horror films. But it's directed by Takashi Miike, who did the Asian film, The Audition. So that particular episode of Masters of Horror is my favorite, and it was actually banned from airing on Showtime because the storyline was so exceptionally graphic, and some of the subjects it touched on was very controversial. So it took a long time before they'd release it in the United States. So if you've not watched any of the Masters of Horror stuff, they're really, really awesome. And I think that is pretty much it. I am very, very tired. I could talk about horror films and TV series on and on and on. I'll probably come back and talk about some more here in the near future. But for now, I'm tired. I know Mahoney's got to eat because she's a hungry girl and got to take her potty, take Dum Dum potty, and then I'm going to sit down and have some dinner, and we're all going to try and get some rest tonight. But I know everybody's always asking what some of my favorite horror films are, and so, plus other films, which I will get to. I know I have to do a movie tag and some of my other favorite movies in it, but I want to do them probably by genre or favorite actors. I can't do like Johnny Tellez and do a top 100 because I don't have a top 100. Everything I love, if I love it, it's going to be a favorite, period. So I can't pick specifics. I can just go through and share with you what some of my favorite films are. If you haven't seen them, I can, offer you some excellent recommendations to check out. So, I love watching Johnny Tellez do some of his film reviews, because there's been a few things in there I haven't seen. And me and him, we have a ton of film favorites in common, but there's been a few things in his list that he's been doing that I haven't seen that I really want to check out. So I hope I can do that for some of you guys, show you some of my favorites, and if you haven't seen them, you can check them out. Come back on these videos and comment and tell me what you thought of those films I recommended. And so that's it. We've been making videos all afternoon, and we are tired. I'm tired, and I am just so stressed. I need to de-stress for a while. So we will be back later this week. I know we've got more boxes coming in, and we will be back to chat some more. Peace out, guys. Love ya. I absolutely forgot one film that I wanted to make mention of that is one of my absolute faves from growing up is The Wicker Man, the original one with Christopher Lee. My mom bought me this amazing, amazing, beautiful wooden box set years ago that it was a long wooden box, and I have it around here somewhere. I looked for it before I started my video. I don't remember where I put it, but it's this long wooden box, and it's got a wicker man burnt into the top of it, and it's got a little latch on the side, and you open it up, and it had some film cards. And then it had 2 releases of the DVDs. One of them was the theatrical version. The other one is an extended director's cut. If you haven't seen the original Wicker Man, it's amazing. Christopher Lee is amazing. The remake with Nicolas Cage, absolute rubbish. Don't watch that drivel. Watch the original Wicker Man. I am so disappointed I forgot to mention that. That was top on my list, but I just was really tired and forgot. But I could not post my videos without making mention of The Wicker Man, because it's wonderful. So absolutely check out The Wicker Man, the original from the early 70s if you haven't seen it. Amazing! Alright, that's it. Peace out again. Bye.